On the Air, episode 108. Mark?
Oh my goodness, live from the Loft 100 Studios in sunny San Diego, California. On the Air is on the Air. Featuring the Sully Band, but most importantly, it's the Little Tommy Show with Tommy Savant. There you go.
We have a live audience.
Look
Give
at
it up
that.
for the live audience.
My goodness. Wait till you see the capacity of 150 people that we can fit into the new studio.
Even the balcony. Give it up for everyone on the balcony.
Oh, that's good. Fun. Very excellent. Well done. I think we actually have a balcony in the new place.
Oh,
really? Yeah, we're still going to call it Loft 100 Studios. It's just going to be way bigger. We're going to have a big grand opening with all the audience and so on and so forth. So great to have you along. We have a huge show.
Yes, I can't wait.
I see James is taking over the band again. Thanks so much, James. I'm still here. Name's on the door. Just wanted to let you know that, pal. Good stuff.
Episode 108. I can't believe it.
I don't know why you say that, because we've done this show for 3 years, and we should be like episode 158. And I think it just, it speaks to our work ethic, or lack thereof.
This is our fourth year. We're going into our fourth year.
Okay, so it should be show 208.
Actually, I think we're doing fine. That's like 30-something shows a year.
30 shows a year, so we're taking a third of the year off. Sounds like, it's almost like we're government. It's almost like, hey,
exactly.
have you guys heard about this Ticketmaster thing?
Yeah.
That's going on? Have you guys heard about the Ticketmaster and Live Nation merger that happened back in 2020, November 2020?
Why is Taylor Swift the...
Well, because they dropped the ball on a major amount of tickets for their fans. And of course, there's certain bands. I think there's certain bands that say, we want to go out on a tour, and yeah, sure, we love our fans. But then there's certain bands that love their fans. Taylor Swift is one. Mm-hmm. Pearl Jam's another. With respect to things going wrong in the ticketing industry and making it more difficult for bands to tour without Ticketmaster, hence making it a monopoly on both sides, you have to ask yourself, would you rather wait in line at Madison Square Garden in the rain for 3 weeks with the little beach chair? Remember how they used to put the little beach chairs out and you had to wait there? Or would you rather go online, pay the service fee, and know you got a ticket, but have to pay the price for it? I think that's what you have to weigh. I think for me, at some point in your life, your time is more valuable than your money. Even if I got to pay a $20 fee for it, I know that's a pretty stiff fee for a ticket, when the ticket's supposed to be $18.
Although it was
you're paying
fun.
a $20 convenience fee.
It was fun waiting in line, though, back in the day.
Yeah. It was also, you were also 16, had a Slurpee cup with Kurt Bevacqua's face on it. So it was, at that point it was fun because it was an adventure and you got to stay up all night. At this point, the only reason I'm staying up past 9 is if we got a show, and I've got to be a lot of convincing going on if that's going to happen. But yeah, I think it's interesting that it's an interesting story, but I think there's two sides of it. I don't want to just villainize the ticketing industry, because I started thinking, man, I remember I used to hate going online, trying to buy tickets online. Now I can go to one spot. Of course, with the Farmers that's going on right now. Same exact thing. It was the easiest thing to do to get a ticket to the Farmers this week by going through Ticketmaster. Yes, did I pay a convenience fee that was, equal to Arnold Palmer's first paycheck to get a ticket? Yes, I did. But it was convenient. So there's my soapbox for the day. What do we got? Do we have a show?
Let's do it. Let's bring out the first guest. He was the 8th pick of the first round in the 1989 NFL Draft. 5 seasons with the San Diego Chargers, 1 season with the Super Bowl 57 champs, Philadelphia Eagles. Ladies and gentlemen, Burt Grossman. Song.
Was that Philadelphia Freedom?
Yes. I'm a big Elton John fan, so it's good.
Are you really? Have you been to an Elton John show?
I have.
We had Rebecca Jade on this stage. Didn't she play with Sir Elton John at one point?
Yes.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
At the Academy Awards.
Isn't it interesting when you go to those shows? When you know it's going to be good, but it's always better than you even think it's going to be.
It's always that way, except I went when I was in 6th grade to see Kiss. the Philadelphia
How was that?
Spectrum. That was not as good as I thought it would be. A lot of studio with Kiss. They weren't. Gene Simmons isn't the singer you think he is.
You know. Well, you're.
Hey, wait a minute. Growing up.
Oh, that's a T-shirt. Gene Simmons is not the singer you think he is.
Speaking of the Spectrum in Philadelphia, that's where you grew up.
Yeah.
Where were you in '76 when they were making Rocky?
Oh, I was in 4th or 5th grade.
So were you one of those kids running up the stairs?
No, I remember they had the open casting. It was bigger for the second one, Rocky 2, because everybody knew Rocky then, and it went all over the city. But no, I didn't get to be in that. My parents wouldn't give me. They wouldn't even give me a right to use sports, let alone to go be in a Rocky movie.
Wow. How does it feel?
Were you on Pop Warner there in Philly? Was that how you started?
No, we did. You know, we didn't have Pop Warner. We had middle school teams then for each school. So I went to middle school and played on the. Actually, I played for my parish team, St. Matthias. I didn't even play for my middle school team.
And then from there, you go to high school.
Then I go to high school. I went to Lower Merion, where Kobe Bryant was for 1 year. Then got thrown out of there. And then I got thrown out of a public school and went to a Catholic school.
What's the first school you got thrown out of, Burt?
Oh, God. There was many earlier, but, God, what was the first school? I want to say it was Springfield Elementary. I probably got thrown out of.
No, there's so many.
Couple, yeah.
But did football save you? I mean, you were first round draft pick going into the NFL.
Yeah.
High school, you were probably a star athlete.
I was.
How did that work?
You know, it's funny. I also threw the shot put, and I was really good at the shot put, so I had to decide when I was coming out which one I was going to do in college. And I went on my visit. I went on track visit, and then I went on a football visit, and they were two very different things, and that's when I decided which one I was
How many salary guarantees are there for professional shot put?
None. I had actually the guy that beat me for the national championship my senior year in high school ended up winning the Olympics, and he was from West Virginia, but he didn't end up.
He's programming for HP now.
Yeah, he doesn't. He works at Jiffy Lube, I think. You know what I always want to ask?
Nothing wrong with a.
No. You know what I always want to ask? Why was it always Mark Mathis up here the last time I was here on the screen?
That's actually was Rusty Nails playing.
That's
Mark
Rusty
Mathis.
now, but when I was here last time, you had Mark Mathis.
Oh, that's
from,
right. We changed
Dallas,
yeah.
old Dallas chip. Clips.
We changed to Russ because he died. Thanks for bringing it up, Burt.
I didn't mean it that way.
One more day, I would have been over it. Thanks a lot.
Is Mark Mathis still in us?
Mark's what?
I'm kidding. I know.
I have to ask you with respect to what it was like playing football in Philly, because I remember here in San Diego playing Pop Warner football, and there was a big difference growing up in University City, and then we had to go out to El Cajon Valley.
Yeah,
and
it's still that way.
It was like, okay, we were like University City, and we went to El Cajon Valley, and those guys shaved.
Yeah.
And then we were 10.
Yeah.
It was. No, I'm not kidding.
It's still that way.
We shaved our legs.
Yeah.
At 10. It was a different. I mean, it was like what is that? 8 miles away?
Yeah,
9,
no,
10,
it's
12
very
miles
different.
away. It was a very different experience for you in the East Coast, right?
It was, but going back to that point, I was the president of Association near East Lake, and we would just go to El Cajon Valley still 8 years ago.
And you're afraid yourself.
And you go into like the Chaldean liquor store, and the kid who plays running backs selling you cigarettes, and then you go out in the field and you see him playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
After
very
his
different.
second shave of the day.
Yeah.
It was. I remember. It's interesting when we're kids regionally here in San Diego. I don't know if it's the water, and I'm not kidding when I say that. I'm not trying to be funny. It's kids grow up at a different rate.
They do.
In East County here. And it's also San Diego, let's face it. You know, if you grew up playing football in San Diego, and there's a lot of great football players, Marcus Allen being one of them, Junior Seau being another one. They were fantastic NFL players. But they didn't have it as hard as the guys in Philly had it, or the guys in New York or New Jersey had it. And I wonder what the end result of that is when you end up getting to college in the NFL.
It was regional. I think, I ended up going to Pitt, so Pittsburgh was totally different than Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They were known for, big, tough, steel town linemen, but then when you wanted skill positions, you go to Florida. So it was kind of every region was known for a certain thing. Back then, I think it was Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, all came from the same region. So every region had their own identity of what that player was going to be or what that player was going to be like. Philly was kind of mixed. We had a little bit of everything, but Pittsburgh was just, you weren't going to go get a speedster out of Pittsburgh. You were going to go get a big lineman.
Right. Where do you go for kickers?
Hey,
California.
I grew up here. I've never seen snowfall. Is it a different world when you're playing football in the snow?
You get... Back there, it wasn't at all, because we're used to it growing up. You'd still play football, with your friends out in the street when it was snowing. Then I came here, and it only took about 2 years, and then I was one of those people at 65, and you have to put a jacket on there, or, sitting out in bathing suits swimming. But here, I can't do it anymore. It actually thins your blood out. I can't even go out if it's 60 degrees anymore.
And I bet you didn't know this about Burt. Right after his football season with Philadelphia, you were a sportscaster, and you won an Emmy.
I won 2, yeah. I was a sportscaster during the season. I did they had then it was Randall Cunningham was quarterback. He had a show. I did something on there, and I did something on the Eagles Hour, it was called. Wow. They were pretty interesting. I hope they never up there. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was a different time. We could do skits and drag. We could do all kinds of things then. I mean, anything we did.
Skits and Drag is the new name of the band, by the way.
We'll give you an example. We were playing the 49ers, and my skit was I was a drag queen on air for the NBC affiliate, which you can't do now, but, I mean, it was just a different time.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably can in Philly still, but not out here.
Got an Emmy for that one.
I did.
Burt Grossman, ladies and gentlemen.
Burt Grossman. All right, our next guest. In 1984, at the World Series, he hit 2 home runs with a batting average of .412 for the San Diego Padres. From Miami, FLA, Dirty Kurt Bevacqua.
How you doing, fella?
Good to see you, buddy. How are you, man?
Everything's good.
Look at you, Kurt Bevacqua.
How are you?
I'm still I still probably once a month listen to the Tommy Lasorda Kurt Bevacqua thing on the internet. It was the most.
You don't listen to it as much as I do then.
Yeah, we got to play that before the end of the show.
Oh, yeah.
One more time. How are you? What's the latest? How's the podcast going, first of all? And
It's going good.
When are you coming here and broadcasting?
Getting ready. I've been talking to your guys behind your back.
Okay, good.
Getting ready to ramp it up.
Yeah.
Out of hot stove, hopefully, pretty soon, another week or 2, and we're going to be going. Spring training's starting. Burt and I were talking before he came in here. It's almost ready to go.
Do you get fired up before baseball season like you used to? I mean, are you still excited about it? Because I was talking to a couple of
Just so you know.
ever.
Yeah.
I was talking to a couple of guys, Padre guys, and they are so giddy about the season. I was talking to even Garrett Stubbs we had in the studio from the Phillies, and they're so pumped up, and it's January, and spring season isn't starting. I didn't realize Major League Baseball players are like that. Like, they're ready to go at the beginning of the year. You feel the same way?
Well, especially when you know you're going to have a good club.
Yeah.
So this ball club this year, they've got a lot to look forward to. I mean, they really do. I mean, Peter Seidler deserves his own sidewalk downtown.
So is he the difference? Because as a San Diego native, ever since 1969, the Padres never did anything. They never traded for anyone. They never got anyone. What's so different now?
Well, certainly the money's bigger, and you're able to offer. I mean, San Diego, people used to look at San Diego as a small market.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's a pretty decent-sized market, but Peter Seidler has shown the baseball world that you don't have to be Chicago, New York, Philadelphia to spend money. And boy, he's doing it. The people of San Diego, I think, have come to realize or are going to realize that he's going to go down as probably one of the better owners that...
But we have to win the World Series, right? Do you think this is it?
No.
No. I don't think... Yeah, I don't...
Is it?
You mean...
You give San Diego like a pretty good season? I mean, people always talk about the Cubs and like how horrible it is to be a Cubs fan. Try being a San Diego sports fan. Like growing up in this town. Going back to the Gulls and the Rockets and the Conquistadors. And we even had one other one. The Clippers. And then, of course, Padres. Boy, the Padres, when we had, when the Padres, and we still have those earth tones from 1972, when we had shag carpet and green Formica seats, back those were the salad days, man. I mean, you'd go there and you'd get a ticket up at the Loge level, but you could walk down to field level, nobody would even know in those days. It was tough. You give us a season like we had last year every year, I'm happy. I don't need to go to the World Series. I just need exciting baseball. Speaking of which, is Fernando Tatis Jr. going to make a difference this year, in your mind? Do we need him or not need him?
It's people just don't realize they've forgotten
I think
how good that kid is.
Because he was the face of baseball like LeBron James is the face of basketball. Correct?
He really was. Him and Soto.
Yeah.
And now you got both of them on the same team. And you've got all of this stuff where people have literally forgotten how good he really is. And he's going to be back. He's going to be back at the end of April. When he comes back, there's not a pitcher in baseball that's going to want to face
But what about the $1 million smile and a 10-cent head factor? Because you have to. One of the things we forget is these guys are kids, right? I mean, they really are. They're in their 20s. They've got more money than sense sometimes. And is that a factor, or is the talent outweigh that factor, in your opinion?
Well, no, it's certainly a factor. The thing that I was disappointed in, this is going to sound crazy, even more so than the steroid issue, was him coming to spring training with a broken wrist.
Yeah.
For him to have a father that played in the major leagues, and for that accident to happen multiple times.
Yeah.
It didn't happen just once. It happened a couple of times. In the Dominican.
What? I was just skateboarding.
Yeah, it was a thing, an ointment for his.
For him. Well, that was the steroid thing. And
sure.
We all believe that. Yeah.
Sure, it was ointment.
God, I wish I would have had that ointment when I played.
Oh, you did. It was called anabolic steroids, just like it is now.
Yeah, but we didn't know about it. Really.
So long story short, Fernando's going to make a big difference.
Huge.
All right.
Well, I shouldn't say huge because the lineup is so good.
Yeah.
He's going to be a difference maker. He's going to come back. He's going to be the same ball player he was, and it's going to be fun. It really is.
Can I announce my favorite player for the third year in a row? Jake Cronenworth. Come on, the best player. I love Jake Cronenworth. Come on. My band's going, who's Jake who?
Yeah.
Hey, we have 2 more guests to bring out.
All right.
I say we bring out the next guest right now.
Now when he was a young man, he never thought he'd see people stand in line to see the boy king. How'd you get so funky? Now did you do the monkey? Born in Arizona, moved to Babylon. Ladies and gentlemen, from beyond King Tut, Ernie Hahn.
Since we're up against it, by the way, fantastic entrance, Ernie, best one ever. Since we're up against the break.
That's all the time we have for you, Ernie.
Perfect. Hey, great to see you guys.
However, I'm going to make you guess over the break and sit on your couch while you figure out why we played Funky Tut for Ernie Hahn as OTA continues. King Tut, bring it up.
Yeah.
Hey, on the air, on the air. Here you have your one today. Okay. Yeah. Sully man sounding especially good today. Which just stop him.
There you go.
You can stop him twice. Watch.
Power.
Stop him 3 times. Just do it.
Ready?
Yeah, no, yeah. Or.
Hey.
Okay, thanks.
Give it up for the band.
Ernie Hahn, close friend, close associate, and of course, icon of San Diego. Why do we hear Funky Tut? By the way, do you remember who did the song Funky Tut?
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
Damn right, Steve Martin. Come on, the original Canadian. Arrow through his head, the whole thing. Talk about, why are we talking about King Tut other than the billboards and everything else?
It's a 100-year anniversary since they found King Tut last November, and so they kicked it off. And I say they, Bevacqua Entertainment, which is a large Canadian company that does these immersive shows. They're the ones that brought Beyond Van Gogh about a year and a half to San Diego, and so the next big deal is Beyond King Tut, which is 25,000 square feet, 9 rooms of this immersive technology projection, one-of-a-kind pictures with National Geographic. And it just has started at the Del Mar Fairgrounds, and it's going to be here for 2 months. It'll run through the end of March. Different time slots that you book. You can get your tickets at beyondkingtut.com, and it's an amazing show.
Was this the same guys that put on the Picasso thing?
Yeah, the Van Gogh.
Van Gogh, same.
Yeah.
Picasso, Van Gogh.
Picasso's next.
Rembrandt.
So this tells you the whole life story about him in a way that's never been seen before. It's not artifacts, it's projection, and they've gone back and they've recreated, and they've got the original pictures. Some of these, 100-year-old pictures as they actually went into the tomb from National Geographic, and it takes you about an hour to go through it. It's a journey through time, and it tells the story as you're going through it. So you learn a lot. It's an amazing show for the kids, adults. And so Hahn Entertainment is the local promoter, working with Bevacqua, and it's great. So it's been a lot of work, as you know. You and I have talked a lot about this, but it's a big company, and they chose us to be their partner, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like the Van Gogh thing that you mentioned. It's a walking tour. It's an immersive experience, and it's one for all ages, correct?
For all ages, and I mean, there's games and interactions for the kids, but it's really like I left that event going, wow. I mean, I thought I knew some stuff about King Tut, but and then I saw it in a whole different way, and it's amazing what they can do with the technology. And the technology that's in this exhibit is even the next immersion past Van Gogh. As good as that was, it's the next level, a year and a half later, and so we're lucky enough they've chosen San Diego to be the 5th city. It's been in Boston and Vancouver and LA and New York, and so we're the 5th city. And so it just opened up, and get your tickets quick because they're going quick.
What's the website again?
beyondkingtut.com.
We should do a show out front. Just,
We should.
Don't even ask him permission.
Just come on out.
Just go out there and do it.
I have a fact about King Tut.
All right, tell me.
Did you know the original people that found the tomb 100 years ago, they all died mysteriously?
Did they really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that like the Poltergeist movie thing?
Yeah.
Sounds like an unsolved mystery.
I got another one on top of that is when we broke it, literally, I think it was November 4th, which was the 100-year anniversary, and we had the sandcastle guys in Del Mar come out and do this big sandcastle for kind of the press to do it all. And then, is it a curse? I don't know, but...
Is that when the rain started?
No. Literally at 10 in the morning, they're just finishing it up right there at Powerhouse Park, and that was about 30 minutes right after we finished when the gal got attacked by the shark.
Wow.
For the first
So
shark.
maybe we shouldn't go to this event.
For the first shark attack.
Maybe we skip the whole thing.
I remember.
When we say that the curse or whatever, I mean, what are the crazy stuff?
Where does that leave you, though?
Leaves me.
It's all fun games, so I pick up the paper.
Yeah, it's all good, but I gotta finance it. Amazing show. Good for the whole family, and we're lucky to have it for 2 months, and probably will extend through April too.
Are there actors and such in here portraying stuff?
No, you walk through on your own pace. Different rooms tell you different parts of the story from the discovery. Different rooms have video and immersion and projection. The tomb, and all of those things. And then the last scene is probably about 8,000 square feet. Big boat in the middle of it, projection everywhere, and it tells this 15-minute story of the afterlife, what happens. There's a piece on mummification and how that worked.
Interesting.
And then all the things. You can also do a VIP ticket, and in that VIP ticket, there's
you get buried with
a VR. Yeah, you get buried with them, but there's a VR experience where you actually go in, and you go into the tomb, and it shows all the artifacts and all those things. Cool. It's about a 12 minutes. So the VIP thing gets you that, the regular tour, and a bunch of other merchandise. It's
and
really,
how long does it take again to walk through this thing, Ernie?
Take you about an hour.
Right on.
Yeah, it's a really amazing show.
I'm gonna get and go.
Well, it may take you an hour and a half.
We'll edit that out.
But either way, go to beyondkingtut.com, whether you're...
A different ticket.
That's twice as expensive. We call that the slow lane ticket. But it's kind of just...
There you go.
But you're not even inside.
You do it over and over, and you don't even know
You're
you
just sitting
did
in the
it.
car and reading the program.
All right, we have one more guest to bring out, and I'm excited about this. He's celebrating 40 years in San Diego. Rubio's opened on January 25th, 1983. They've sold over 270 million fish tacos. Ladies and gentlemen, Ralph Rubio.
This is fantastic.
Wow. Thank you.
Icon.
How are you, brother?
Iconic. Great to see you, man.
Good to see you, Sully.
You were a shadow of your former self. What are you doing? Are you boxing? Are you doing CrossFit? Are you doing Peloton? You look
Just
fantastic.
trying to stay in shape, man. Eating a lot of Rubios, you know?
There you go.
You look. I saw a photograph of you in front of the original Rubios recently, and I thought to myself, when that was the old Orange Julius place, if I'm not mistaken.
Way back. That was when we took it over. Was Mickey's Burgers.
That's right.
Which was post.
80, 81?
Was that?
What
Well,
year?
Orange Julius was probably late 70s.
Right, but
we
what-
took it over in 83.
83, that's
Yeah.
right. Do you remember that? We were all at State. We were all of us at San Diego State.
Yeah, I was there too.
I know.
No, I had graduated by then. but
Yeah, that's
San
right. You're
Diego
way older
State.
than we are.
I'm way older than you guys.
We were watching this guy on the baseball field, is what we were doing.
Wait a minute.
You know how long ago that was? I was still playing.
Ralph, okay, January 25th, 1983. Right there, Mission Bay Drive. You have one paid employee?
One paid employee, the rest is family. Mom, dad, my brothers, and my sister.
And did you ever think at that time, you know what? We're going to have a taco empire one day.
I did not. I did not.
Which is, by the way, a Netflix special starting this Friday. Taco Empire starring.
I mean, but in all honesty, you do have a fish taco empire.
I figured if I could make one work, that there could be more. That's all I knew. Because I worked for the old spaghetti factory in the Hungry Hunter back then. And so they, there
Hungry
was a
Hunter?
chain. Yeah, Hungry
My
Hunter.
first job.
Was that really?
Oh, my gosh,
The
yes.
one in Mission Valley?
No,
right?
the one in El Cajon. I had to lie and tell them I was 16. I was actually 15 years old. They didn't. The good thing, they didn't have computers back then.
Oh,
Like,
no,
"Oh,
I could check up on you.
That's so interesting how I remember when the radio advertising first started coming out. I believe it was 91X. if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken.
91X.
And we started hearing about, the old villages of Mexico where we all visited as kids when we used to drive to Mex every other weekend or so to surf or whatever. And you really did capture this thing that we really only understood in Southern California.
Right.
And I remember my first day on, you and I are so connected in a million ways. We've talked about this a million times. When I first got on radio on AM 1130 KSDO, when it was a thing, I was in the mornings, Roger Hedgeheimer in the afternoon. They had me talk about business stuff. First stock I talked about was Rubio's. Stock symbol RUBO.
That's right.
And I said to them, I said on the air, I go, boy, I sure hope they understand in New Jersey what a fish taco is, because we totally get it out here.
Right.
And boy, you sure swept the nation. It's been a fantastic story to watch.
It has. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
I love it.
I remember Larry Himmel. Larry Himmel loving
Oh, yeah,
Rubio's.
Larry.
That's what got it for me. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I've been there every day since.
Well, we're going to thank Larry. Yes, you
You
have.
guys went to Mexico to surf?
Yes.
Yeah?
That's not what we used to go for, but I'm just.
You want to elaborate?
Yeah, no.
Burt went for another reason.
Yeah.
Ralph went for the food. Me and Ernie went to surf, but you guys had way more fun.
I have a
More
lot
on
of
the air
questions.
coming up.
I have a lot of questions for
All right,
all
me
of
too.
you.
I want to know. Your questions. All right. OTA. Burt Grossman, Burt Bevacqua, Ernie Hahn, Ralph Rubio. I'm Sully, that's Little Tommy, and that's the Sully Band. On the air, it's on the air.
So get my ass, where are we in summer? What is only fun, I play circus and a showman. Where are
Well, we got a show now. on today.
Look at that.
Look at everybody.
Look at the live audience. So cool. They're all eating fish tacos.
Nice job. Wow.
I have a question for you, Mr. Rubio.
Yes,
All right, 1983. Are you the oldest in your family?
I am of the kids, yeah.
And when you were working there, is it true there was a Chase Lounge where when you weren't working you would be sleeping there?
Well, there were times we were so slow in the early days that we had no business. Hours would go by, nobody would walk in, and I would open the restaurant, work the mid, and close it. So I was there all day long. And sometimes I just needed a break in the middle of the day when I knew it'd be slow, so I put a Chase Lounge in the prep area where behind the kitchen and put a bell on the counter with a little sign that says, if you need service, ring the bell.
Wake
And
up.
so I would take a little 20-minute cat nap, and sometimes I heard the bell, and I'd run out there, I'd splash water on my face first, and I'd run out.
And where is
They
that?
never knew that I would just sleep.
Where's the Chase Lounge now?
Well, then after that, once we got busier, we moved to the roof so that we could take breaks
In the sun.
around the sun. Yeah, catch a few rays at Mission Beach, and yeah, I don't know where it is now. It should be in a museum somewhere.
I get people ask me all the time they're starting businesses to advise them on starting businesses. And the standard answer is, of course, well, follow your passion. Listen, there's a lot of passionate people on American Idol, right? And passion without talent is an American Idol audition.
Right.
You need more than that. So you stuck to it, and you knew you had something that people liked. You wouldn't have opened up a restaurant otherwise, right? You had feedback, you had open air indicators that figured out. What was the tipping point, do you feel? Because you are an everyday name here in San Diego, and you just described a point where you weren't.
Right.
What was that? Could you define a moment when you guys went from obscurity to popularity?
Well, I graphed our monthly sales through the first 2 years, and I have it in my office actually, where we started out at like $200 a day or so, all the way up to $1,000 a day after 24 months.
Wow.
It's just a steady climb. And so after 2 years, through all the word of mouth, we got to be very popular. And so the business just took off like a rocket after 2 years, and we opened a second store at San Diego State, my alma mater. And then the first restaurant was so busy, we opened a third one in Pacific Beach. And that's when we knew we had something going. And then we just expanded, opening on average a restaurant per year for the next 8 years or so.
But I guess the lesson here is patience, right?
Yeah, patience, especially in the first 2 years. Sometimes you just need a little time to get traction.
Yeah.
Now, was there a moment when you invited the family over and you guys all started jumping up and down on the bed, money flying all over you guys? I mean,
number one, that's not my style. Number two, once the business took off, I mean, you're living day to day. You're just trying to, keep up with it. So no time to sit down or break open the champagne. None of that happened. No.
Could you guys open like in New York? I mean, would Rubio's
I think
fish
so.
taco-
My daughter lives in New York. She just moved to Manhattan. She's, Dad, I need my fish tacos. And I've been to New York plenty of times, and no one's doing what we're doing, really. So, yeah, I think there's a...
I don't think they're doing it anywhere.
Well, there are some fish tacos. There's some good taquerias in Manhattan in particular. I've been to them myself.
But the fish taco, you guys made that front and center.
Yes,
it
that's
wasn't
true.
an also
Still our number one seller.
Because maybe taquerias have it as an also ran.
That's
right?
a good point. That's a great point.
And you made this front and center. I think
our signature.
I say we roll this thing in and take it public again.
Hey, is it true?
Deal?
What's that?
Is location the most important thing?
It is very important. I don't know if it's the most important, but it's very important. Also, choosing markets is difficult because not every market's the same. Denver is different than San Diego. Even Northern California is different than Southern California. There's nuance.
Thinking Green Bay may not be the first place we
Nah,
open.
probably not.
Yeah.
Hey, is it true you have a Kurt Bevacqua story?
I do.
Oh,
When
God,
I
who
saw
doesn't?
Kurt,
I've got like 6.
this was back in the day when I used to play over the line.
Yeah.
And I played in the open with some friends one time, and I had to face off against this guy. So I'm playing. They made me play the front. I usually didn't. There's 3: front, middle, and back. I usually play middle or back. Somehow I got delegated to play in the front, and there I am, 18 feet away from Kurt Bevacqua with
With a baseball bat.
And all this guy does is hit frozen ropes, right? And I know that. And what does he do? He hits it right at my head. I just put my hands up and I flipped it over my head and it fell for a single. And I'm just glad I survived. I could have died that day.
What
But the
were you
fear in
doing?
my eyes.
See, you're a ringer. What were you doing playing OTL?
I know, that's what I told
You're not
him.
allowed to play OTL. You're a professional baseball player.
Why? I wanted to be good on one team.
Wow.
I didn't even know this until now.
No, you didn't know.
I used to try. My deal was I would try to hurt the guy in the front.
I could attest to that.
Dirty Kurt.
Starting with Major League pitchers.
Just take him out.
We started those games at 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
7 in the morning. First games, the ball was hard as a rock. And if you hit a line drive, it got softer as the day wore on.
Sure.
You hit a line drive at the guy in the front, there's no way you could catch it, and you're going to break his fingers or his face.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Were you playing in the majors when you?
No, it was after I retired.
Yeah. Sure it was.
whole year.
Must have been the late 80s.
I got a Kurt
Burt,
story
did
too.
you got a Kurt?
Come on.
Do you ever show up at the Kalina Men's League flag football on the weekends?
And Rush the passer, yeah. About 6 months after I retired, yeah. That's pretty bad. Kurt.
I have to ask, with respect to being local celebrities, especially professional sports players, because this is where you live too. And of course, there's this elevated, especially with the youth that see you play. And oh my gosh, there's Burt Grossman. Oh my gosh, there's Kurt Bevacqua. How did you guys juggle that? Because knowing your personalities, you don't suffer fools. Neither of you do. You're barely here. Let's face it, you're here because we begged you. But there's certain guys that love that sort of attention. Mm-hmm. You guys are not two of the guys that love that attention, but know that. Did you just know it was part of the job? Did they take you to Charter School of PR? Or
it was way same. There was no social media. There was no internet. There was basically just 3 channels. The UHF channels, but it really was. I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, but we're different. I was out front, and they were talking about golf in Fairbanks Ranch, and I played Chula Vista Municipal. So we have different
I learned
views
to
on
play at Chula
local
Vista
player.
Muni.
Local player.
Yeah.
Played on that par 3 behind the Rubios too. Yeah. That's my home course.
I don't know if you know this about Burt. He doesn't coach anymore, but he is the president of the San Diego Strike Force.
No kidding. Right.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that's huge.
Did you deal with autograph seekers well? Was that
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, still do.
All right. Like when you guys are at Diego's, for example, in PB. That was kind of going way back.
And confettis. You remember confettis?
Yeah. Confetti. Houlihan's old place, or Diego Mills. You're walking through.
We had a Shays Lounge there. It was a little different than
You're at the old PB Cafe.
More questions. More questions after the break.
We were all there at the same time.
Scary thought.
Stand by. More on the air. It's coming up.
Awesome. Yeah, the Sully Band.
Yeah. That means we spend way too much time together. Is what that means.
I have a question for Burt Grossman.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations to you and Paul Rudy for the PPR.
Thank you.
I mean, high school football in San Diego. I know it's not Texas, but I think it's pretty darn close. How's high school football in San Diego?
Just in the last 10 years, amazing jump. When I first got into it, it was maybe you'd see 4 or 5 kids get scholarships. Now it's in the hundreds. I mean, it's just going up. We have 4 state champions out of 5 divisions this year, or 6 divisions. But it's funny you asked me that. Going back to when we were talking about autograph seekers, I get more recognized for PPR than I ever did when I was playing, just because of social media and everything else, just things we didn't have. But yeah, it was, and you bring up the bars. It used to be the standard. You go into a bar back then, and there would be 10 guys saying they're Burt Grossman or Kurt Bevacqua, or they played for the Chargers, because nobody could pull out their phone and look at the roster, look at your picture. It was just a different time.
Wow.
I have a question about some of the injuries that have happened, and most recently, of course, you think about the Buffalo Bills, and of course, the guy had a cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Means heart stopped is what that means.
Hamlin.
On the field. And if you think in terms of when I played high school football, I was the tallest guy on the team in 1978. There might have been one guy that was 6'3". And now I would be the smallest kicker in the league.
Yeah.
What's going on? Are we feeding him better? Are we training better? I mean, because obviously everything is bigger. I mean, even pro tennis players are 6'6".
That's true. You look at the 90s, it's the same thing. We look like small high school kids now in the NFL. When I played, when I was growing up, all the players had to have off-season jobs. They were selling used cars. They were working at a bar. They weren't training. Kurt took steroids, so that was different. Ointment. I don't know, but every year they get bigger.
Ointment.
But, that hit, if you look at them now, they're so big, and the velocity that they run. You get guys like Junior that could play in any era athletically, but now they all look like that and run like that. But it wasn't even a hard hit, really. I've seen 20 hits harder than that.
And again, we were kids. We had Pop Warner football or Little League baseball, but I didn't travel anywhere. There wasn't any place to travel. There was no off season. You had your Pop Warner football team or your high school team, but there wasn't. You think part of it is they're playing 365 days a year almost?
I guess in training. Well, out here, you guys, you have weather all year round. You go back to Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, we don't play baseball other than when it's warm.
We really don't play baseball now.
We don't play at all, really.
I got a question for Kurt. So 1971, you make your major league debut with Cleveland Indians, but before that, you were hanging out with the Cincinnati Reds. How cool was it for you being a kid? And there's Pete Rose, there's Johnny Bench. How cool is that?
Well, they're still good friends to this day. That's what makes it cool.
That's great.
And that was a good experience. People ask me, I was on a show the other day about uniforms on the MLB network, and we're talking about uniforms from the past, and they asked me my favorite uniform. And it was without a doubt the sleeveless
Pittsburgh Pirates
type Cincinnati Red.
That's
nobody in this audience that know who's
Pirates.
Remember the stovetop hats?
The Pirates uniforms were fun, but these uniforms were flannel and a wool combination.
Wow. Almost like a warm blanket when you're up to bat.
But they were sleeveless. And my first spring training camp with the Reds, we had sleeveless jerseys from the old days, and then we went to a polyester type.
Yeah, of course, San Diego with our earth tones and shag carpet. Our uniforms are made by Monsanto.
Exactly.
Avocado green.
By the way, you're almost barely out of high school, and you're hanging out with Pete Rose and Johnny Bench. Did you ask them anything? Did you talk to them? Could you talk to them?
What's the line on the Lakers game?
No. I remember.
Wow, they'll blow me.
I remember. You know what? I remember going to the dog track a couple of nights.
Imagine that.
With Pete.
Pete Rose at a racing event.
Oh, Pete was there. Pete was there. But we got our checks in spring training, and I was in the locker next to Pete's, and I opened my check up. Pete was opening his, and he pulled out this wad of cash and put his check, wrapped his check around it, and he looked over at my check and he goes, "You want me to cash it for you?"
I got a question for Ernie. So, are we going to see more Wonder Bus stuff? First of all, describe the Wonder Bus again for those people that don't know.
We broke it out about 2 years ago.
Double-decker European bus,
yep.
Correct?
British double-decker bus where it's kind of VIP down below, and then we've converted it to a stage and a studio up top, so live music can go anywhere, anytime, and broke it out during COVID, and you'll still see it going around town. We had a deal with Infinium Spirits. That deal's coming to an end, and so we're working with a couple companies right now to kind of rebrand it.
I know a guy at Rubio's.
Yeah, we'll do fish tacos off the top of it, play a little music. We've had since we started that, over 200 local bands have played on that.
You know,
really cool.
back in the day, all the way back in the day, I wish we had the Wonder Bus at Section A3 in the parking lot. Did you guys know about Section A3 in the parking lot?
What?
Section A3 was the greatest spot.
Why?
What was going on there?
Everything was going on. It was basically New Jack City.
Really?
In fact, I'm surprised you guys didn't sponsor the whole thing, because it was the most fun you could. I would pay because remember, they didn't check tickets at the parking thing. I'd pay the $5 to get in the parking lot just to go to A3. and then go to the local bar and watch the football.
don't even go to the game.
It was, I mean, you could have
Your
trolled
pre-party for the bar.
I was an
in the
H1
parking lot.
person. I was at
H1. Okay, why? Because there was a Jeff and Jerry Showgram logo there.
That's where he got the parking. That's where the parking was hooked up for him through Ace Parking. H1, H and G1. All right, that's a fact.
There it is. More on here coming up. Ernie Hahn, Bevacqua, Ralph Rubio, and Burt Grossman. It's the Little Tommy Show on KUS.
And the live audience. Give it up for the live audience.
I love that. Good to see you. All right, there you go. Well done, guys. Do we have any word on our first gig? Do we know when that is? Do we know? Are we belly upping somewhere soon? I know we got lots of stuff coming up. I know we've been booked for a lot of summer concert series, so we'll figure out. Ralph, I have a question for you. I have a serious. This is going to sound like I'm goofing around, but I have a serious question. So, there are pockets of San Diego that have entertainment venues. Mm-hmm. Let's take the Belly Up Tavern for one, on Cedros. And typically the main show starts at 9 o'clock, okay? Mm-hmm. People get out of there 10:30, 11 o'clock. Okay, Ernie and I have been out several times at that hour, and the first thing we do is look for some place to go eat, right? God forbid there'd be a donut shop open. Don't you think we should open up near every live music venue a donuts? That's only open from like 10 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Well, I would trademark the name for sure.
Right. I mean, don't you think that right? Ernie's, by the way, sponsor for the Wonder Bus.
We used to,
sponsor for the stadium.
We used to have it at the Solana Donut Shop.
I know.
And that when we were kids, a long time ago. We're coming back from a party, but they were cooking all the donuts for the Sunday morning, and they were open, and you'd hit that at midnight.
You roll out of the
hot
belly up.
donuts and a milk, and it was night.
Yeah.
You could charge
perfect.
double for that donut at midnight.
Now,
It's going to be so hot.
we just didn't have the name donuts.
At this age, it's
I know, that's a clincher right
That's a
there.
winner.
This
Did you
age
say
is
milk?
Yeah, I was gonna say milk. Milk and magnesia. What are you talking about?
No,
How old are you?
This is after the party.
Yeah.
This is putting you to bed, baby. It's a
That's
it's
right.
a hot,
I'm thinking like an
hot
after-
donut and a milk and
No,
night.
I'm thinking like there'd be a liquor license also. But
Oh, well, yeah. I'm going past. We're talking the future. Yeah, we'll be open until 2-ish.
It's gonna work.
I'm liking
it's gonna
it.
work.
I like it's
I'm
called
liking
it's
it.
like
I'm
sips and
intrigued.
snacks.
Screwball and a.
Screwball in a jelly filled.
Question for Kurt. I got a
Sweet.
question for Kurt Bevacqua. Should Pete Rose be in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should he also be in the dog track racing hall of fame?
All of them. He made some stupid moves.
Yeah.
By just the way he handled everything. But there's no denying the ball player that he was.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's 100%.
Ralph, what's next for you? Are we creating a donuts together?
I think we are.
Okay.
Let's talk.
I believe that it's funny how cyclical our tastes are. And remember, you remember better than anybody, how Rubio's took this city by storm. And you've taken a million cities by storm. What's your next venue? Is it called retirement and golf? Or are you thinking about
personally?
something else? Yeah.
No. I'm still full time at Rubio's. You know, I mean, we just celebrated our 40-year anniversary this last week, and but I'm still at it. You know, haven't accomplished everything I wanted to do that we want to do at Rubio's, and so we've got some new management, we've got some new marketing. We're looking to coming out of COVID to start opening new restaurants. There's a lot going on. I'm excited. I love what I do, so I'll keep doing it.
Well, you're a San Diego icon. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you.
And then, Mr. Grossman, championship games are tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah.
Who's going to win? And will Philadelphia go to the Super Bowl?
I think so. I think Cincinnati.
I sure hope so.
No, you don't think so?
No, I said I
Cincinnati
sure
and
hope so. I sure hope the Eagles go.
I think they'll ultimately win too. I mean, everybody likes Kansas City, but if Joe Burrow's, I think he's 3-0 against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
before now.
three in a row.
They forget.
I think the Cowboys.
Are the
Cowboys are good too.
are the Chargers dead to you like they're dead to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? To be honest with you, they were dead to me when Dean Spanos took over from Alex.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. I have to say, I mean, Chargers are dead to me. They're dead. I want their house burned to the ground.
But especially after the move. I mean, I'd still go and get paid
Because
to do
of the move.
stuff. Yeah. Well, no, I didn't like it before, but then I'd still go get paid and stuff.
Like, as in when you were playing there?
Yeah. No, I really didn't like it then.
Well, let's give it up for the live audience.
There we go.
Shout out to Serena. It's Serena's birthday today.
All right.
Stand up, Serena. Stand up, Serena.
Stand up, Serena.
Stand up, Serena.